Rain chances across most of Texas are going to start coming down over the next few days, but not for everyone. Let's talk about it in this Wednesday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. Good morning. It's Wednesday, the 4th of September, 2024. I'm Texas Storm Chasers Boldy-in-Chief David Reimer. We are going to be looking at another day of active weather, especially across the southeastern half of the state today. But by this afternoon and evening, the highest chance for showers and thunderstorms will be shifting closer to the Texas Gulf Coast, deep South Texas, and portions of southeast Texas. Let's take a look at the Highrise Rapid Refresh model for today, tonight, into Thursday. And yeah, we've got some showers across inland portions of Texas this morning. You can see by afternoon and this evening, really the highest chance for scattered showers and storms will be along the Texas Gulf Coast, especially southeast Texas and the Golden Triangle. Parts of the Brazos Valley in East Texas Thursday afternoon. You can actually see this model is trying to spin up an area of low pressure off the southeast Texas coast on Thursday. We'll have to keep an eye on that. At this point, we don't expect it to become a tropical depression, tropical storm, but it may become a bit more organized and become tropical blob worthy, and that would result in some gustier winds along the southeast Texas, upper Texas Gulf Coast, the Golden Triangle, and it may also result in some high tides as we go into Thursday and Friday. It may also allow some higher rain chances across East Texas, the Piney Woods, southeast Texas, the Golden Triangle, and Louisiana as we go into Thursday night and Friday. But otherwise, you can see we're going to see clearing across a decent chunk of the state tomorrow, especially west of Interstate 35. Still, an isolated storm or two will be possible across parts of West Texas, Northwest Texas, the Big Country, the Concho Valley, the Permian Basin Thursday afternoon, but a much drier day as rain chances decrease in inland regions. Taking a look at the longer range weather model, this is the American forecast system. Actually the global forecast system, the American weather model, taking us through Friday into the weekend and early next week. You can see northerly winds probably are going to continue through Friday, light northerly winds. That'll keep things more comfortable. As we get into the weekend, you're going to see the possibility of a few showers and storms continuing along the Texas Gulf Coast, but a much drier stretch of weather coming up for most of Texas as we head through Friday and Saturday. Notice as we get into Sunday, rain chances are probably going to go up across the Rio Grande Valley, deep South Texas, the lower and middle Texas Gulf Coast, as we see some onshore winds progress in. And for really the remainder of the state, you can see not much going on with mostly cloudy to mostly sunny skies across inland regions of Texas this weekend into early next week. Here are forecast rain totals over the next 5 days from the Weather Prediction Center. This is from 7 a.m. this morning through 7 a.m. Monday, the 16th of September, already almost halfway into the month. And it actually isn't the 16th, it is the 9th. Oops, I'll fix that post-production, but yeah, as you can see, we are expecting additional potentially heavy rain along the Texas Gulf Coast the next few days. Immediate Texas Gulf Coast, all the way from South Padre Island, Brownsville, all the way up through the lower, middle, upper Texas Gulf Coast, the coastal bend, the coastal plains, right along the coast, into the Golden Triangle, and folks from Corpus Christi, Brownsville to Galveston, y'all could pick up, it wouldn't be shocking to get 4 to 8 inches of rain over the next several days, but again, that's just because we have tropical moisture in place. We'll be able to see hourly rainfall rates exceeding 3 inches per hour, and if you end up with a storm over your area, yeah, you're going to get a pretty good load of rain and maybe some localized flooding impacts. But the heaviest rains probably are going to try their best to stay just offshore. Of course, that changes by 20 miles. They'll be onshore, and that will be a problem. But as you can see, outside of that, the next day or two, really, potential for some scattered storms continuing from Del Rio to San Antonio, College Station, Tyler, Texarkana, southeast, a few inland regions, northwest, maybe an isolated storm or two, but the widespread heavy rains will be done after this morning across the state through the weekend into early next week. Here's a look at the tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. A couple areas of mischief they're keeping an eye on. The two in the open Atlantic we're not concerned about at this point. The one in the Caribbean currently that'll be moving towards the Yucatan Peninsula and the Bay of Campeche, southwestern Gulf of Mexico early next week, has a low probability of developing at this point, but we're going to keep an eye on it just in case. Some of the longer range weather model ensemble data from both the American Global Forecast System and the European weather models, the European, are trying to throw a little bit of mischief in next week, suggesting conditions may become a bit more favorable for that to become tropical mischief as it makes it into the Bay of Campeche. And from there, well, if it developed, there are some indications it would get picked up and pulled north. So we'll keep an eye on it for next week. At this point, only a 30% chance of it actually becoming a tropical mischief, but we will have to keep an eye on it this weekend and next week just in case something happens, because it is September. And contrary to to be totally honest, incredibly quiet August, it is hurricane season. What was supposed to be a crazy active hurricane season, probably is going to be known for the August that wasn't meant to be. Not exactly sure why that happened yet, to be completely honest with you. There's going to be some research done over that. Not entirely sure that is something specific to meteorology or if some sort of climate thing came into play, but that's not my call and not the reason we're given this forecast today. But we'll have to keep an eye on it just in case for next week. But for now, meh. High temperature forecast over the next 5 days. Well, you could see highs today, 70s. Permian Basin, Big Country, West Texas, with 80s to low 90s returning to the eastern half of the state and up in the Panhandle and the borderland of far West Texas. Tomorrow, as rain chances really diminish outside of the immediate Texas Gulf Coast, the Golden Triangle, Southeast Texas, East Texas, we're looking at highs returning to the mid to upper 80s to middle 90s across the state, but really not that bad. I mean, it's going to be warmer, but, it's not going to be crazy hot. I mean, high of, 90 to 93. Not bad. So we get into Friday, actually a little cooler across the western third of the state. Highs still in the 80s, 88 El Paso. Upper 80s to 90s, eastern two-thirds of the state. Mid-80s, Hill Country, Concho Valley, Big Country, and maybe some low to mid-80s in the Golden Triangle, Southeast Texas, immediate Texas Gulf Coast, where we could still have bands of rain. So we get into Saturday, same story. Really, highs not jumping back up all that much. We're still dealing with 80s to mid-90s. Really quite pleasant for early to mid-September. And then as we get into Sunday of next week, warming back up in the Panhandle, looking like mid-90s up there. And then 90s, Edwards Plateau, Rio Grande Plains, deep South Texas, with otherwise highs mostly in the 80s to about 90 degrees across the state. As we take a look at the Climate Prediction Center temperature outlook from September 9th through 13th, you can see it actually does continue to favor pretty pleasant weather across the state in the temperature department. No triple digits on the horizon, at least on a widespread basis, with below average temperatures expected across the eastern half of the United States, mostly excluding Florida, but we always try to exclude Florida. And then the western half of the United States remaining warm with a late summer heat wave. Precipitation probability, well, not the greatest news here. We're expecting below average precipitation across the northwestern two-thirds of Texas, at least below average precipitation chances, with above average precipitation chances possible in South Texas and along the immediate Texas Gulf Coast, which makes sense based on the pattern we have now, the pattern shaping up for next week. Even if we don't have tropical mischief galore, we'll still have tropical moisture in place. The heat dome, or the upper level high pressure, not expected to really come sit on us anytime soon. So with the tropical moisture in place near the Texas Gulf Coast, that'll allow for at least opportunistic afternoon pop-up showers and thunderstorms to continue into next week with locally heavy rainfall. That'll be it for your Wednesday edition of the Texas Weather Roundup. My apologies if the webcam's fuzzy. Using built-in webcam one more day. Hopefully the microphone's behaving a little better today than it was yesterday, but technology. Got to do what you got to do, and sometimes it just wants to hit you in the head. That's okie dokie. I'm going to go back to my ear-infected induced steroid fun and keep an eye on the weather. Hope you'll join us over in the free Texas Storm Chasers mobile app. Just search for Texas Storm Chasers where you download apps for your device. We've got your local weather forecast, interactive weather radars, your daily Texas weather roundups, and of course, when we get active weather, live severe weather coverage and storm chasing video. Hopefully we won't need to be doing any of that next week. Knock on wood. Y'all make it a great Wednesday. Thank you for subscribing here on the Texas Weather Channel, leaving us your comments, good, bad. We love your ideas, suggestions, constructive criticism. And we'll be back tomorrow with a new Texas Weather Roundup. Make it a great day. God bless.